These kids need to know that it's a world out here and they don't have to risk their life or freedom to get it.
Welcome to Tommy's Toolbox, the Tampa Bay business podcast where we talk about building success from the ground up. I'm your host, Tommy Whitehead, builder, author, and proud member of the Tampa Bay business community. Every week, we open the toolbox and share real stories, practical tools, and inspiration from local entrepreneurs, business owners, and community leaders who are shaping the future of Tampa Bay. So grab your hard hat and let's start building success one conversation at a time. Today, I'm excited to welcome Johnny Farris, the Mentorship and Outreach Coordinator at Safe and Sound Hillsborough, a community-driven organization connecting at-risk youth with mentors, resources, and life-changing opportunities. Johnny is a veteran-focused leader with a passion for service, community impact, and youth empowerment. From his time in the military to his role helping others transition and grow, Johnny's story is all about resilience, purpose, and paying it forward. Johnny, welcome to the Toolbox, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. After hearing that introduction, I didn't know who you were talking about, but I like, man, that guy sounds pretty good to me.
Well, when you tipped us $20 to make it a little nicer, and we did that, we provide the service.
Thank you. I'm glad my money's going somewhere where it could be used.
Oh, that's great. So, Johnny, we're going to jump right into this, man. We only got a few minutes on this podcast, so you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your background, your time in and out of the military, and maybe some of the experiences kind of shaped your approach to leadership.
All right. Well, I didn't realize my life was I lived a privileged life, to be honest with you. And I never really realized that until into my mid-40s. Anything I thought about my life was always I thought it was simple. But I didn't understand that in the third grade, I was going to castles, man. Those are my field trips. You know, like, even though I was born in Oklahoma, we went from Oklahoma to North Carolina. I tell people all the time, man, like I had a passport since I was 8 years old and I didn't really think anything of it. And just moving around and the things I got to see, I remember I went to a field trip to Luxembourg. You know, and the first time I went to Paris, I was 14 years old. None of this stuff ever registered to me that this isn't normal. I just thought that, hey, it was my normal being a military brat. And then I also didn't realize being a military brat, just to go back a little bit, I was watching, have you ever seen the HBO special Chernobyl?
I think I might have watched that once.
Okay, so I remember I was watching it one day, and in the opening scene of it, it shows the date. And it says something like April something, 1986.
Okay.
And I was thinking to myself, like, man, I was a kid in Germany.
Yeah.
When that happened, like world events and stuff happened. I was a kid in Germany when they won the World Cup, I think like in 90 or 91. Like all these things happened, I just took them for granted. And then being in the military, I didn't realize that moving around, all the people I come across. When you're in the military, I've been around all kind of different cultures. Whether for me living in Germany or having to move and be around, I got to meet people from all over the world. So I got to see the beauty in everyone. I just didn't only grow up in a white-only community or a black-only community. You know, some of my best friends were Dominican. Being around in Germany, I picked up a little bit of German. Only thing I know now are all the curse words. But I didn't realize that all those different things that I got to experience as a child would help me now as an adult. So moving forward to like where I'm at now, I never thought that I had anything special. You know, I did 20 years in the military. I was a logistics planner, and I thought that that's what I was supposed to be doing once I got out the military. A lot of us, we just say whatever our career was or whatever our job was in the military, MOS, AFSC, a lot of us just think that that's the only thing we're supposed to do when we get out. And a lot of that transition is very hard. But even the transition for me, I was still blessed, not like many others. I had my father. So when it was time for me to get ready to retire, my father was like, hey, make sure you do this, make sure you do this. And I was 100% disabled, from the time I got out the military. And even things like that. So I always had that money coming in. And a lot of veterans, they didn't have somebody to help guide them. I had my father. There was another time that now I look back at my life, now working with these youth, I always had the presence of my father my entire life. And then when I joined the military, I had great men around me to guide me. I always had great men in my life. So now I work as a mentorship and outreach coordinator, and I can look at these boys, because I work, like you said, I work with youth ages 12 to 19, and I can look at them and I can see they just didn't have anybody to tell them that they love them or tell them, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. There's so many things that I had in my life that I had advantages that I always took for granted. You know, so I don't know if that's a roundabout way to kind of say where I am and how I got here, but I've been blessed, man.
Man, that's powerful. There's a lot of us that didn't have father figures, and you just said it. You're working with people right now that never had that, and that makes you realize how strong your support network was. And I just have to personally say and commend you that you have no obligation to give that experience or leadership or advice to anybody else, but you take it upon yourself saying this is something you want to do, that you feel it's your obligation, your duty, and maybe even your honor or privilege to provide this. That is very powerful, man.
No, the only reason why, and I get emotional about it, my then girlfriend, now wife, when we first started dating, she worked for a nonprofit that worked with youth who had been sexually assaulted and trafficked. And in my life, you hear about these things, but you never really know the horrors that are out there. And she would tell me these stories, and I just couldn't fathom the things that she was telling me. And when we first started dating, she told me I have an obligation to my community. And nobody had ever spoke to me like that. And I never thought that I had anything special to offer. And from there, that's what led me to working at the Crisis Center in Tampa Bay as a veteran peer coordinator. And my role as a veteran peer coordinator, honestly, I had heard of the Crisis Center, but I really didn't know everything that they offered. But as a veteran peer coordinator, when people would call 211 or the Florida Veteran Support Line, one of the questions we would ask is, is anyone in the household a veteran or someone that served? They say yes, and they would ask for a follow-up. I would be that follow-up as a veteran peer coordinator. And that's when I first learned that there's so many veterans either misguided, lied to, or just don't know any better. That's one thing my mom would say, we just don't know no better. And I was lucky enough to have so many people help me along the way. So now, even sometimes my wife gets mad because anytime I meet a veteran, the first thing I ask, hey, how are you doing on your VA service, service-connected disability? And if they say no, or they don't think they have any issues, I'm like, oh, okay, then I want to let you know this. Hey, you have a family? They say, yeah. I said, I'm gonna let you know this right now. Anything happens to you and you're not service-connected, and they're not gonna get anything. And when you serve and you serve honorably, you earn those benefits. And that's what I want them to know. Or sometimes even myself, had I not gone to marriage counseling, I wouldn't have found out I had PTSD. I've been out almost 11 years, and I didn't think I had PTSD because I work with, we downplay the things we hear or see. Absolutely. In the military.
It's how you cope.
So it was people I know, I was like, I never had to kick in doors. I never had to, shoot anyone. I didn't have to do any of these things, right? But I know people who had, so I used to always think there was nothing wrong with me. We forget about all the bad things we see or hear. Like one story I always remember, I was a supply troop working in a maintenance squadron. And let's say, we went to work one day, come to work the next day, and they all bring us together in the room and like, hey, we want to let y'all know that, Airman Smith, committed suicide last night. Hey, if you want to go talk to someone, we can set that up for you. 5 minutes later, Tommy's like, all right, let's go launch these jets. And I just went right back to my desk and was like, hey, what we doing for lunch? Not thinking, that was somebody's child, man. Yeah. That was somebody's child. That was a coworker. Here we are, 19, 20 years old, dealing with death and things like that, but we still got to go out there and perform our duties.
And no guidance on how to handle it. And Johnny, that's powerful. That's important stuff. And you've taken it upon yourself to help others process this. Maybe it is military members, maybe it's these kids. And that just makes me proud of my Tampa Bay community that we have members like you here. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh man, thank you.
Johnny, you've shared a very powerful story with us, and now you're using that experience to lead programs like Mentor Mondays, and these are helping these at-risk youth find the direction. So what's one tool from your leadership toolbox that helped you connect with the younger people that actually, say, hey, I understand?
Well, that's the thing about it. Being around these youth, I'll just be real with them. Like, I can't talk to them on a certain level because I haven't experienced what they've experienced. But what I can say is, oh, you know what? Hold on. I know Tommy. Let me introduce to you my guy, Tommy. Oh, you know what, man? My boy I was stationed with over here, he knows something about that. So now I understand that I used to think that everything that I had was for the military, but now I understand that it's all my connections I've made throughout my life from the military is to help these kids. Because it's people I've known for years in the military, and now I tell them what I'm doing, and they were like, oh, man, you know what? I had some charges on me when I was a kid, or, hey, I got into a little bit of trouble. Like, you know what? Hey, man, you mind coming in? That's how I realized I can help. And you're not gonna be able to help everyone, but it might be a kid out there like, oh, you know what? They need to see it, man. They need to see it, Tommy, and that's the main thing. They need to see someone that looks like them succeed. So, I was talking with a kid, and he said he had never seen a man of color in a suit that wasn't on TV or something. And things like that. I'm working with kids. One day, it was only two youth that showed up for Mentorship Monday. And we were just sitting there and we was talking. And I remember when I was a kid, sometimes out of nowhere, my dad would be like, hey, come on, let's go ride. And I'm like, oh, well, he's like, just get in the car. And when I was it was just me and the two youth, and we're riding, and they're just talking. We're just having a conversation. And they're like, oh, man, where are we going? I said, man, it doesn't matter. We're just riding. And I had no clue of where we were going to go to, but we were just riding. And we ended up down at Armature Works. And one of them said to me, he's like, man, I've never been here before. In their own towns, they haven't been in certain places. It's kids we work with, man, they've never even seen the Gulf.
Wow.
Their world is so small, and they need to know, like when we were growing up, we had to imagine, or we had to go to like the encyclopedia, we had to go to the library, look at encyclopedia.
Encyclopedia for our listeners, our younger listeners. It's a big book that was before the internet, right?
We actually had to go leave the house to go find stuff to look up and everything. And they have a device in their hand and they can look up anything. All they know is right here. I was talking to youth one of my first weeks there, and I was asking them had they even been anywhere. And one of them said, I've been to Dade City. This kid's 17 years old. Only thing he's ever done is gone to Pasco County. These kids need to know that it's a world out here, and they don't have to risk their life or freedom to get it. So that's why I bring in different people from all different walks of life. Hey, what are you interested in? When we were younger, when you had the kids who only thing they wanted to do was draw. Get out of here. You can't do nothing with that doodling thing. Nobody told them, hey, you know what, man? You could be a graphic artist, or hey, you could do this.
A generation before us never imagined what those creativity skills could have turned into.
No, if you weren't good at math, science, or English, you weren't good at anything. Like, no, what are you interested in, man? And I'm going to try to find that.
Yeah. All right, Johnny, let's talk a little bit about the program itself, the Safe and Sound program. You're always looking for mentors. You're always looking for locations. You're always, I'm sure, looking for sponsors, or there's any number of ways that somebody could support the program. So tell us, how can somebody get involved with this program?
Well, first of all, you can find us on, online, whatever. But they always say time, talent, and treasure. So, if you have a business or anything, like on Fridays, we have where we do like community activities, because these youth, they also have to get community service hours. So say for instance, you have like Tomco, and y'all are doing a beautification, or you're doing a cleanup or a park cleanup. We can have some of the youth come out there, and that's how they can get their hours. Or you have a trade or anything, like on Wednesdays, the youth, we do welding with the youth. On Tuesdays, we also have tutoring. We do with the youth. So it's different ways, whether you want to donate some time, or if you have an activity or anything you want the youth, they can come in. Or if you've been trying to, hey, we have all these great mentors, but we didn't have any youth and stuff. We can try to make that connection and see if you can come in and also collaborate. Because like we also do a collaboration where we're trying to work with Tampa General Hospital, because these youth, they also need to know what happens on the actions. Because the youth we work with, like I said before, they have gun charges. And sometimes kids don't understand the ramifications and the consequences of their actions. Or you also have at times too, they might be with a friend and they might have a gunshot. But if they know how to, like in the military, we would call it self-aid buddy care. But if they know how to take care of that, sometimes a lot of the deaths that happen just because, the youth might bleed out. And I know it's something you might not want to talk about. Hey, but if that youth has that knowledge, and then we also are trying to partner up with funeral homes as well too, because they also need to see the other side of what happens when you pull that trigger. And they need to see those consequences as well too. So it's just all about not giving up on them. Because the one thing I realized too, that in my time in the military, I'm not gonna sit back here and act like I was, this perfect airman and I didn't get in trouble. But somebody saw something in me and they didn't give up on me. And they're like, hey man, you know what? Because I probably should have been kicked out 3-4 times in the military. But I was still a young kid then, even myself. I joined the military, I was 18 years old. So you can still make those mistakes, it's all right. It just happens after you make that mistake and everything. People are still gonna try to show up there for you. So I just want them to know, like, hey man, there's people out here that care, and there's people out here that want you to be the best that you can be.
Well, I think your superpower now is connections. Your superpower is helping spread the word and telling people, hey, we don't just need a check. We need you. We need an introduction to that local restaurant that might need some help. We need to see what community service projects are going on. And you're just out there spreading the word. And I mean, I really commend you. We encourage young entrepreneurs all the time how important connections are, and they never see it. And then when they get to our level of the playing field, and then we realize that connections are everything. That's where everything starts. So the fact that you're teaching these youth and military veterans, and really anybody that ever calls and asks you for help, that, hey, we got a connection and we can get your connections up. We can show you a better path. That is so outstanding. And I love that, because that's what our community here in Tampa is about. And you're spreading the word. So man, that's awesome. Johnny, we're going to do something fun now.
All right.
This is going to be quick. So we call it quick fix.
Okay.
And so I'm going to rapid fire you some questions. I don't want you to think about it. I just want you to answer. Okay.
I get in a lot of trouble if you ask my wife for not thinking before I speak.
Yes. Well, we'll give you a little pass this time. All right. We're going to give you the pass. Mrs. Farris, could you just please give him a pass for 1 minute? 1 minute. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Coffee or tea?
Sweet tea.
Sweet tea. All right. You sound like a Southern boy.
Oh, yeah.
Morning motivation or late night grind?
Morning motivation.
All right. Favorite Tampa Bay spot to clear your head?
The gym.
The gym? All right. Man, I'm back in the gym too. I understand. And it's the quietest time of the entire day, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
What's one tool you can't live without?
Oh, man. One tool. Music?
Music?
Yeah. I got to have music. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, as
Keeps
long
you
as I have
focused.
music. Yeah, as long as I have music, I could probably do anything. As long as there's some music playing.
Very cool. Well, we're gonna play some music for you and have you do some chickenography and see if that helps. All right.
I didn't say I do it well, but I say it'll get done.
If you could build anything for the community right now, what would it be?
And just a place for youth.
Place for youth.
Yeah.
That's
it's the
a great
kids,
goal.
man, because they're the next ones and everything, and they're gonna replace us and all that. So yeah, it would have to be some with the kids now.
That's incredible. All right. So these are all solid answers. You did great. So before we wrap up, Johnny, can you share us how we can get in contact or how the listeners can get in contact with you?
Well, yes, you have Safe and Sound Hillsborough.org is always the first and best place to see us, or just on LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook. Hopefully you have my information as well too, and you can put that out there as well as ways to get in contact with us. Or if you just see me out somewhere, man, just say, hey, man, I heard or saw about y'all and I want to get involved with you.
That's great. If you didn't grab that information on the screen, we're going to put it in the description or comments below for you so that you can get in contact with Johnny and the Safe and Sound program. Thank you, Johnny, for joining me today. Your story is proof that service doesn't end when the uniform comes off. It just changes shape. What you're doing at Safe and Sound Hillsborough is helping Tampa-based youth build brighter, safer futures. For our listeners, remember, success isn't found, it's built. Every day is a chance to add another tool to your toolbox. I'm Tommy Whitehead, and this has been Tommy's Toolbox, the Tampa Bay podcast for entrepreneur leaders and dream builders. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and follow us on social media for more business and community success stories from across Tampa Bay. Until next time, keep building homes, building community, and building success.